Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So filming this a second time because my original file got corrupted after I had already posted it. So if you saw it yesterday, and it's a reason I had to take it down, it's because it got corrupted. So we're going to film it again today. EX2 is releasing right around the corner. Supposedly, we haven't had any news of any sort of delays, which is pretty mind-boggling. So we're just going to start proceeding ahead like it's going to be here. Some of you might be worried that EX2 already coming out after just getting BT8, but thankfully EX2 is just a side set, so it's not too bad. You actually don't need as much product to get everything you need. Ultimately, it's just a smaller set in general, so you can actually get most of the things you need. Now, will it impact the meta? One of the decks will. So if you've been tired of Yellow Hybrid, there is a very nice deck in this that's coming out in EX2 that really, I think, has a good stomping power for dealing with that. Now, it might surprise you which of these decks it actually is. You might think you know, but actually probably might be a little bit surprised. Also, don't forget our new memory marker that we've got out this month is going to be Narrowmon here. This is handmade out of clay by my wife, hand painted as well. A fantastic memory marker for yellow hybrid decks or Masteimon decks. Very, very perfect for Mastei, as this is the baby that comes in the deck. You can find this on our Etsy store, link in the description below. Also there you can find all of our previous memory markers that we've had on the channel, as well as some of our Battle Ready Ink merch like our sleeves, our game mats, and our brand new dice. Okay, so like I was saying, EX2 is a smaller set. So if we look here, 5 Digimon in the red area here. We've got 5 in blue, okay? Or sorry, 6 in blue if you count Marine Angemon. And then just look at how small this set is. It is a tiny set, so it's actually not too bad, and it has some of the best staples from Tamers. Okay, Tamers is my all-time favorite Digimon season out of all of them. 2 of my top 3 favorite Digimon are in this set. We've got Gilmon and Bielsamond both. I am ecstatic for this set. I was talking to my friend today. It's like, I can't decide what I'm going to play. I want to play both of these decks, but I don't know which one to play first or which one to collect first. So we'll just have to see when the time comes and I'm holding the cards in hand and just like, all right, this is what I'm playing. So I am very excited. So we're just going to start rolling through all of the new decks that we're getting out of this set. So we're just going to start right at the top here with red. We've got the new Gilmon line here. So just the whole thing is just his Evo line. And we've got the new Gilmon, which is kind of like the end all for what the goal is here. So we're going to take a look at the Mega, and that'll kind of give us an idea of what the archetype is trying to do here. So your turn gets a 2000 DP buff, and then your turn, while you have a red Tamer, the maximum DP of your effects that delete Digimon increases by 2000 DP. So that's really, really cool. And what's really nice about this is we're focusing in on the Gilmon cards, but this applies to everything. So all of those red option cards out there that are DP reliant, this boosts those. So like your the Crimson Blaze, things like that, all those cards that are DP, all those option cards, like this increases that cap. That is super cool. And then when attacking, choose any number of your opponent's Digimon with a total DP that adds up to 6000 DP or less and delete them. And remember, this increases by 2000, so this will actually be 8000 DP. And it's total DP. So, you know, if you want to delete 8 things that are 1000 DP, you can do that. Or one thing that's 8000 DP, you can do that as well. So very, very cool ability. Now, he is a Gilmon, and like most Gilmons, he is a 4 Evo cost. So we will have to mitigate that a little bit. Because his main ability is when attacking, but it's okay because our Tamer that we're actually going to have, because you needed Tamers in play to activate these effects, our Tamer actually gives it Blitz. So you can Evo with this 4 Evo cost and then immediately Blitz with it. So keep that in mind when we're talking about a lot of these effects here. So it's got a War Groundmon that has this great inheritable of also increasing your DP deletion effects by 1000. So that makes it his ability a 9000 for Gilmon. Also, this Growlmon inheritable here is also another deletion effect, which is normally 5,000, which you can buff up to 6,000 with all the different ways that we have to do it. And then we have a Gilmon Searcher here. I love it. Like, I think most of these all have searchers now, which is a fantastic like game mechanic that I think every archetype should have. So Gilmon having its searcher for Groundmon, Gallantmon, and its tamer, it's fantastic. A great card for sure. And then it has the same popping inheritable as well. So really nice balanced cards here that feel really good. And a new Digimon that gives the deck its draw. So Koromon for the Greymon gives it draws, as well as there's the Koromon that gives it the DP buff, so you can choose. We got the same thing for Digimon now. We've got the original Digimon that gives the 1000 DP buff, or this Digimon that gives you a draw. So really nice game design there for them looking at red. I really dig it. And then kind of just going off that, we've got the Takato, like I said, that gives it Blitz, as well as when you delete a Digimon, you can suspend the tamer to gain 1 memory. So you can go 4 Evo cost, Blitz, pop something with your effect, suspend the Takato to gain 1 memory back. So it's kind of like making your Gallantmon a 3 Evo cost, and you get Blitz. I mean, it's not too bad there. I really like that whole design. And then Crimson mode here is a new level 7 for the Gallantmon. So he has his own dedicated, no more having to use Omnimon. You can now use a dedicated level 7 for your Gallantmon decks. 6 Evo cost is pretty steep, but again, you'll have Blitz with it, so not too bad. When Digivolving, delete all of your opponent's Digimon with the highest DP. So this is like Iron Fisted Onslaught. You know, if they have multiple things that all have the same DP that are all like, you know, really high, you kill them all at once. That's great. I love this ability. Always really cool to have it in the game. And then when attacking, trash 1 card from the top of your opponent's security stack. Okay? Just instantly get 1. You're going to Blitz and trash the security, but you can increase the number of cards trashed by this effect for 1 for every 10 cards in your opponent's trash. So very similar to the original Gallantmon, but this gets a minimum of 1, and then you can add to it. So, I mean, against decks like Security Control or Yellow Hybrid that, you know, they go super long game, that's how they win, is in the long game, that hurts them against this deck. They'll have 20-30 cards in trash. You're going to swing in with Crimson mode. He's going to just make 4 of them disappear out of their security and then punch after the fact. So really like Crimson mode. He might have thought that's the counter to Yellow Hybrid I was talking about. It's actually not the counter to Yellow Hybrid that I was speaking of, but it is a fantastic one that does work very well against that. So I really like Gallantmon and what he's bringing to the table. Now looking at Blue though, Blue doesn't actually have a new dedicated deck all that much. It gets this Leomon, which is a really nice kind of a power creep of the original Leomon. Very cool card, and Marine Angemon also pretty neat. And they get some nice tamers that support them, but nothing to, like, I wouldn't say build an entire deck, an entire strategy around. So Blue doesn't really get anything too crazy this format, but moving on to Yellow, we get Sakuyamon. I love this deck also. I love so many of these decks in this because the Sakuyamon uses the whole strategy is all about using like the option cards. They call them plugins in this, and basically what they are, if you've seen the anime, every time they use the cards and they swipe and give their Digimon an upgrade that, you know, makes them stronger for a moment, that's what this whole deck is revolved around, is using your tamer to basically just repeatedly use these slash cards and upgrade the Digimon with these option cards. So cool. I'm glad they incorporated the anime into the cards so perfectly. But unfortunately, it's only really for the Sakuyamon. Yes, you can use those upgrade cards on any Digimon in the game, but Sakuyamon, this whole Evo line really works well with them. So when Digivolving, unsuspend one of your Digimon, and for each tamer you have in play, return 1 option card with plug-in and its name from your trash to your hand. So get some nice recycle there, and then your turn, when you used an option card with a 2 cost or more, one of your Digimon gets, or one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3000 DP for the turn. So one of the option cards gives jamming, so what you could do is play that, swing with your level 5 with jamming, and then evo into your Sakuyamon and unsuspend your Sakuyamon to then swing again with jamming. And yeah, so that's just really, really fantastic. And then your tamer allows you to use your option cards for free. So like swing with a level 5, use that jamming card for free, unsuspend, swing again with jamming. You know, you see the cycle there. So really, really cool stuff with the Sakuyamon deck. It's all about using the Renamon line and all your different plugins and with your tamer there. So really great stuff. So Cubimon here is a little bit of a searcher for you. So when digivolving, reveal 3. You can add a plugin, one of your option cards to your hand. And then your Renamon here, your on-play Renamon gives you your Searcher. So again, we got another Searcher. Searches the whole Evo line as well as the Tamer. So that's really fantastic stuff. Yeah, really, really cool stuff. And we'll go ahead and cover the Tamer right quick. It is a memory fixer, which is always a bonus. I do love a good memory fixer for a dedicated strategy like this. But when your Digimon with Renamon, Cubimon, Taomon, or Sakuyamon in its name attacks, you may suspend this Tamer to use one option card with plugin in its name in your hand without paying its memory cost. And there's no like restriction. So a lot of the plugins have different varying costs. So being able to use any of them for free is great. So normally you don't really want to get multiple memory fixers on field, but with Rika, it's actually not too bad because you can just get multiple uses out of Rika here. So that's pretty boss. And so there's lots of different plugins here. This one gives security attack +1. This is the jamming one I talked about earlier. We have the green one here that draws you a card. Then you may digivolve to a Digimon card in your hand with a digivolution cost of 3 or less without paying its memory cost. So you could turn out like a 3 Evo cost into a 2 Evo cost normally, or you can make it a free Evo if you use this in conjunction with Rika. So Rika will allow you to play this for free. So your level 5 then can just immediately Evo into a level 6 for free. Very powerful stuff. And then there's also the blue card. I'm so ecstatic they put this in here. Unfortunately, we don't have the red card, but I will take the blue card. The blue card is great. This is in the anime what they initially used to make their Digimon digivolve for the first time is with the blue card. So really cool. Reveal 5 cards from the top of your deck. One of your Digimon may digivolve into a Digimon card other than white card from among them without paying its digivolution costs. When you did not do that, add 1 Digimon card from among them to your hand. So yeah, you're going to basically play this and you can then digivolve, you know, like into a mega, right? You have your level 5 and you want to use this to digivolve into a level 6. Say you don't have a level 6 in your hand, so you can't use the green one. You got to use the blue card instead and then digivolve into that level 6. But if you don't have a level 6 that gets revealed, and say you get like a rookie that gets revealed, you can add the rookie to hand at least. So that's really cool. Neat card for sure. The green one's probably the more reliable one because you get to have the guaranteed of having the mega in hand or whatever. But still very synergistic. Really liking the Sakuyamon deck. It does get more support later on. We get I think it's Miko mode where she's like in the priestess outfit. Very cool. Probably the most beautiful card I've ever seen in this entire game. But that's not till BT10. So we got a little bit of a wait on that one. Next we've got green here in Mega Gargomon. I would say this is probably the weakest out of the 3 protagonists here. It might not be the weakest in the whole set, but it is in an awkward spot. So massive 5 Evo cost. It has a nice 13,000 DP attack, but huge Evo. When digivolving, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. For each green tamer you have in play, those Digimon do not unsuspend during your opponent's unsuspend phase. So very similar to something like a Puppetmon. It gives that Puppetmon kind of vibes to it, as well as the original Mega Gargomon as well, keeping stuff suspended so it just stuns your opponent out a little bit. And then when attacking, which for a 5 Evo cost, you're probably not going to Evo into this and then be able to attack in the same turn. And I think that's like the biggest bummer out of this whole strategy. But once per turn, return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon with less DP than this Digimon to its owner's hand, which that is extremely powerful. So 13,000 DP makes sense. Being able to bounce something back, very good. But yeah, 5 Evo cost, so you'll never be able to Evo and then swing in the same turn, more than likely. unless you go like hidden potential, which, you know, it's green, so it does have the potential to do that. We've got Rapidmon here that kind of combos with it here. So when Digivolving, if you have a green tamer in play, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, so that gives you another suspending target to then go Mega Gargomon on top of, but also has the security attack +1 when one of your opponent's Digimon becomes suspended. So gives you a little bit more of a punch power there. Gargomon here gives you a 2k DP buff. If your turn when this Digimon would Digivolve, if you have a green tamer in play, reduce the memory cost of this Digivolution by 1. So that's pretty great. And we got another new Terriermon. When you play a green tamer, gain 1 memory. So it kind of reduces the play cost of your tamers. So that's really great. And also another DP buff. So more Terriermons means we can run Rapidmon. We all know how powerful Rapidmon is, and it's all about having tamers on board. So you're going to want to have tamers to go with your Rapidmon also. So this whole thing synergizes really well with Rapidmon as well, and that good golden armor Rapidmon, I should say, not this one, but the one that everyone hates currently. And then the tamer, we got Henry that goes with it. Another memory fixer, which is great. 4 play cost is steep, but again, you have that Terriermon, which could make it a 3 play cost memory fixer, which is not too bad. But you also want to have multiple green tamers on field, so it kind of makes sense also that you want to get multiples out. And then when your Digimon with Gargomon or Rapidmon in its name attacks, you may suspend this tamer to suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. So this is how you're going to suspend your opponent's Digimon to trigger all these like inheritables and stuff like that. That's how you're going to do it, is with the tamer is going to do it during your turn. So when you attack, you're going to suspend something, and then you're going to trigger all these inheritables here. So again, though, the ultimate thing is that it feels weak against those other decks though that are out there. It just feels awkward because you're going to Evo into the Mega Gargomon, and he's got to sit there for a turn, and then you can start putting in work with him on a following turn. Next, we got Justimon. Unfortunately, Justimon doesn't have like a whole crazy amount of support just yet. It's going to get more later on, but it is still pretty neat. It's just a 3 Evo cost, which is nice to see. When Digivolving, activate one of the following effects. You can get a 2k DP buff. You can unsuspend it, which is pretty cool. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost of 5 or less. Not too bad. That clears out some blockers out of your way, or a lot of other things just in general. 5 play cost or less is a fair amount of level 4s and below. And then when attacking, once per turn, activate this Digimon's when Digivolving for each tamer you have in play. Now, this is once per turn, so you can't just like swing, unsuspend this Digimon for the first tamer, swing, unsuspend this Digimon for the second tamer. You know, if you've got 3 tamers, you just trigger all 3 effects at once. It is once per turn, but still not too bad. So you can Digivolve into this guy, or swing with a level 6 or a level 5. Evo into Justimon, unsuspend, swing again, then use its when attacking ability to unsuspend again, so you can get some multiple swings off with Justimon. That's pretty cool. I dig it. I like Justimon in the anime. I thought he was super cool. A little underutilized, but still pretty awesome. And we got the Cyberdramon that combos with him. So when Digivolving, you may play one Rio from your hand without paying its memory cost. That's really great. And this isn't limited. So if you keep evoing multiple Cyberdramons, you can keep playing Rios to get multiple Rios into play, which is very powerful. Because again, the Justimon here, you're going to want to have multiple tamers on field. So I like that. That's better than like the Diaboromon that when you Digivolve, if you don't have one in play, you can play one. There's no limit like that, so I really like that design. And then your turn, while you don't have a tamer in play, this Digimon cannot attack players. So really, really important that you're playing out your tamers with this guy. And then has the inheritable of when attacking once per turn. If you have 2 or more black tamers in play, which again, that's really a good benefit to keeping multiple tamers in play with this strategy, one of your opponent's Digimon Digivolve 1. That's pretty cool. And 10,000 DP, level 5, always nice to see. So like I said, you could swing with the Cyberdramon and then Evo into the Justimon and unsuspend it, and then swing again. So that 10,000 DP is actually pretty important for that general strategy. And then the Rio that combos with it here is on play, reveal 4 cards from the top of your deck, add 1 Dramon or Justimon in its name to your hand. So he's a searcher, 3 play cost searcher, or you play him for free with the level 5, which is pretty ideal. Anytime you can get Tamers in play for free or Digimon in play for free off of Tamers is so fantastic. Also, I love that he's using the cards from the anime and not from the Digimon card game. Like when you see the Agumon playing cards, it's with the Digimon TCG cards, but then these guys are using the ones from the anime, so I think that's a really nice touch. And then your turn, when your black Digimon attacks, you may suspend this tamer to have that Digimon get a 1000 DP buff until the end of your opponent's next turn. So nice little extra bonus ability. So you get the on-play effect as well as you get a DP buff, which, the Justimon 11,000 DP is kind of low, so having that DP buff is actually pretty nice. Moving on, though, we're going to get into another one of my favorites here in the Bielsamond deck. We have a whole bunch of new support for Bielsamond. I am ecstatic. I have been waiting for this literally since 1.0, since we got the original Bielsamond, and he had the wings and the cannon. I was like, yeah, this is awesome, but it's not, like, actually the burst mode version, so we're finally getting it, though, so I'm really excited. We have the new Bielsamond here. It's all about milling, so not drawing and discarding like most purple has been in the past. This is just straight send from deck to trash. You don't get a pick from it or anything like that. Send straight from deck to trash to trigger a lot of these abilities. So we have the Bielsamond here that when it gets trashed, you can play an Impmon from your trash without paying its memory cost. And you get their on-play effects. So any of your on-play Impmons, you're going to be able to get those effects. And then when Digivolving and when attacking, not once per turn. So you can Digivolve, use this effect, and then swing and use this effect again. Trash the top 2 cards of your deck, then delete one of your opponent's Digimon, opponent's level 3 or lower Digimon. For every 10 cards in your trash, add 1 to the maximum level of the Digimon you can choose with this effect. So that's really great. That's like a double pop. If you got a memory fixer on field, Evo into Bielsamond, pop something, swing, pop something again. Very nice board control with the Bielsamond stuff. Very similar to the original one of being able to pop level 4s, but this, late game gets crazy powerful. So that's the Bielsamond aspect. We do have a new Impmon here that has, if it gets milled, as long as it's not getting milled because of this card's effect, you can mill 3 more cards. So send 3 more cards from the deck to the trash. So we have tons and tons. Even the original Impmon, like on deletion, mill 3. You mill this guy, you mill 3 more cards. So you can fill up your trash stupid fast in this. And then on play, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, add a Bielsamond and your Tamer. This is your memory fixer Tamer that goes with the strategy to your hand, and everything else goes to the bottom of the deck. And then has the inheritable of gives a 3k buff to your Bielsamond. So fantastic card for the deck, overall strategy. And then we have the level 7. This is the blast mode here. I think I said burst mode earlier, but this is blast mode. Got the cannon. We've got the big wings. He's got the green eyes from the anime when he turns good and joins all of the protagonist. I love this card. It's so cool. This and the alt art, oh my god, they're so beautiful. Such brilliant alt arts and just card designs in general for this this set is absolutely wonderful. But this guy has a mill effect also. When this card is trashed from your deck, delete one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon. So popping, just controlling your opponent's board, and then when Digivolving, delete all of your opponent's Digimon with the highest level. So that's just similar to what Gallantmon was doing, right? Where the Gallantmon deletes everything with the highest DP. But the issue with that one is, you can have multiple level 6s on field that all have varying DPs, but this guy is just straight level. So that's pretty cool because, you can have multiple level 6s and pop all the level 6s at once. That's pretty great. Where we will see, where you're going to get to it in a moment, but the last deck we're going to talk about has no levels. So Bielsamond against that deck will always struggle because it's going to lose out on all of its deleting the opponent's Digimon because they don't have levels. But for everything else in this entire game, this guy is great. The whole strategy is great against everything else in the entire game. Fantastic strategy. Your turn, for every 10 cards in your trash, the Digimon gets security attack +1. So you're using all these crazy mills and you're like, I'm gonna deck myself incredibly fast. But the nice thing is, as soon as you get into your blast mode, you're like, that's it. Okay, here's 5 security checks coming at you, 3, 4 security checks. He is your end-all beater. Like, all right, time to win the game. Now, 6 Evo cost might feel a little steep, but we have our Eye and Mako here. This is our memory fixer for the strategy. And then when one of your Digimon attacks, you may suspend this tamer to trash the top card of your deck. Then, if the attacking Digimon is Bielsamond, you can Digivolve it into Bielsamond Blast mode from your trash for a memory cost of 3. So that is great. You can go from a level 5 into your level 6 Bielsamond. Attack, use your when attacking ability, then use your Eye and Mako to Digivolve into a blast mode, and then yeah, that's pretty great. So use your when Digivolving effect again to pop something else, and then you just punch for a crazy amount of security checks. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant deck. I love it so much. Very cool design, gorgeous cards. I am ecstatic to play this deck as well as the Gilmon. Like I said, I cannot choose. Now though, we're getting on to the last deck, and this deck is probably the scariest deck in this whole set, and it's the lowest rarity. The highest rarity card they have, I think, is just this rare here, and I think maybe the baby is a rare as well, the Digitama. I wouldn't call it a baby, the Digitama. So the overall strategy is basically to get into this guy. He has a massive 20 play cost, but through one of the strategies we can do is we can play him for free, and then you just repeatedly attack your opponent over and over with this guy. So let's go take a look at the Digitama here in the Mother D Reaper. You see why I don't call it a baby? Because it is like a bajillion times larger than Gilmon. It is huge. 15,000 DP Digitama. All turns, this Digimon can't attack and can't be affected by your opponent's effects. That's huge. Can't attack and can't be affected by your opponent's effects. So no deleting this thing. The only way to kill it is to attack over it, and you have to be able to attack over it while it's unsuspended. So that's a very limited amount of cards in this game that can do that, and that have the DP high enough to actually clear it, because this thing is going to be sitting at 16, 17, 20,000 DP very quickly because of the inheritables. So your turn, once per turn, if you don't have another Mother D Reaper in play, place one of your searchers in play. That's your rookie for this deck, or one searcher in your hand at the bottom of this Digimon's Digivolution cards. Your turn, once per turn, when your Digimon with D Reaper in its traits would be played from your hand, you can reduce the play cost of that Digimon by 1 for each Digivolution card this Digimon has. So crazy. So you're gonna be able to play stuff for very, very cheap. So your searcher here, 3 play cost rookie. You may include up to 50 copies of the cards with this card's number in your deck. So you can have 50 searchers if you wanted. Now that's not what you're gonna do. Very similar to Eosmon though. So like the Eosmon level 5, you're gonna have multiple copies of this in your deck. When playing this card in your hand, if you don't have another searcher in play, reduce the play cost by 2. So 1 play cost rookie, it can't attack players. Now you can crash it into other Digimon. 1,000 DP not going to get you too far, but it could come up. And then on play, draw 1. So 1 play cost, draw 1 rookie, and then has the inheritable of all Digimon with D Reaper in their traits get 1,000 DP. That's huge. That makes your Mother D Reaper like turn 1 basically instantly 16,000. So very difficult to clear that Mother D Reaper, as well as just buffing all of the other cards in your deck. So you're going to repeatedly play searchers and then absorb them underneath your Digitama, and you're just going to repeatedly do that every single turn. Now there's multiple ways to help speed that along. Like Jerry here is normally a 5 play cost, but remember we can reduce the play cost of this card with our Digitama, that once per turn we can reduce the play cost. So you'll play out that searcher for 1, absorb it, and then play out like a Jerry for 4 after that, and then by suspending this Digimon, reveal 5 cards from the top of your deck, place 1 searcher from among That's a bad translation. But from among them to the bottom of one of your Mother D Reaper's Digivolution cards. Place the remaining cards on the bottom of your deck in any order. So you're going to get Jerry's out, and they're going to help kind of speed the process along. You're going to play Searchers, absorb them. You're going to use Jerry's, suspend the Jerry's, place another Searchers, because the absorbing effect, you can only do that once per turn. You can't just like play out Searcher, absorb, play out Searcher, absorb, like all in one turn. You can only absorb once per turn with the Mother D Reaper's effect, but you can use Jerry's to help speed that along. And to kind of help you get to the end goal here, we've got Gatekeeper. So it's a security Digimon, so you can play it for free out of security. And then you get, if you have a Mother D Reaper in play, you get Recovery +1. Always very powerful, so he instantly replaces himself out of security. And then if you have a Mother D Reaper in play that has 6 Digivolution sources, or more, all of your opponent's Digimon get security attack -1. If you get multiple Gatekeepers on field with that going, your opponent is just shut down. Like, it is extremely difficult once the Mother D Reaper gets in play with enough inheritables and you can get a Gatekeeper online. Those two combo like insane, and your opponent just stuck. They can't kill the Mother D Reaper. They have to find a way to kill the Gatekeeper, and then pray you don't get a second one in play immediately afterwards. Yeah, so very difficult once the deck gets going and it's to that point of having all those inheritables and a Gatekeeper on board. It's a very difficult match to win. Now, how does the Gatekeeper, or how does D Reaper itself win? It's got all these cards that can't attack, right? And it's all these effects that just keep putting sources underneath the Digitama. That's where the Reaper comes in here. This is your nuke right here. This is how you end the game. When you would play this Digimon, you may trash 7 or more Digivolution cards from the bottom of one of your Mother D Reapers to reduce the play cost to 0. And it has Rush. So you play this guy for 0 with Rush, immediately attack, 15,000 DP. When attacking, you may place 2 Searchers from your trash under this Digimon in any order as its Digivolution cards to unsuspend this Digimon. And remember, those Searchers give a 1,000 DP buff as an inheritable. So instantly, this guy becomes 17,000 DP on that first security check. Wyvern's Breath doesn't do anything to this, okay? You're going to have dedicated removal options if you in security to deal with this. Thankfully, Trump Sword actually can do very well against this because it unsuspends before the check. So it'll be unsuspended when the check goes off. That's actually very important for particularly for Trump Sword. Remember, there's no levels here, so something like Fly Bullet isn't going to do the job for you. You've got to have non-level based removal options and non-Wyvern's Breath as well, because that's not going to get you there either. And so you're basically going to attack multiple times. You got 7 at minimum. If you go 8, that's going to give you 4 unsuspends, okay? So for every 2 you put under, that gives you an unsuspend. So, and that's multiple attacks there. So that gives you 5 checks immediately if you have 8 or more Digivolution cards. If you got 10, that's an OTK. Now, if you just did a single check with something else in the game, so there are other Reapers that we kind of skipped over, but if any of those get, that one check early game, put your opponent at 4. When the Reaper hits the field, he's basically going to finish the game off. And that's what your goal is, to just stall out your opponent until you can get the Reaper online, and then you just basically win after that. And that is the big scary thing, I think, that's going to really hit home with against Yellow Hybrid, simply because like the Reaper is so massive and a lot of the removal just doesn't touch it. And a lot of the stuff on field, they can't clear the Mother D Reaper in any way. You can't target with them with effects, or the Mother D Reaper, you can't target it with effects. So you're not doing any sort of clearing or anything like that. You're just trying to win before they get online. You can do some preemptive healing potentially with your stuff, which you might desperately need to do, but even that, it's still not going to be enough. So I think this has a very good matchup against that. Now, any deck that's super fast, like Imperial or Armor, I think will have a great matchup against this deck, because you can put out a ton of damage early game before it can get enough inheritables underneath the Mother D Reaper to really start being effective. So like the Gatekeepers and stuff like that, before they can get online, you put in all your damage before they get a Gatekeeper on field, then you're going to be doing very, very good for yourself. So the fast decks would be good against it, but any deck that's slow and requires a build-up will struggle against this deck. Absolutely. So just kind of keep that in mind. And that's going to do it for all the decks coming out in BT6. So we've got Mother D Reaper, Bielsamond, Justimon, Mega Garglemon, Sakuyamon, and Gallantmon.